you're taking over, Jay, already.
No. That's you pretending to take over through me. I mean, really.
Okay, Marcel, you go, brother. You
Really,
go.
yeah.
So I'm really stoked to have a chat with you, gentlemen. Please introduce yourselves and who you are, what it is you do, and we'll take it from there.
Okay, thanks, Jay. Thanks. I'm not normally one that talks a lot. So my name is Rockwell, Malcolm Rockwell King, and I play bass in Fuzzy since about 1998 or so. And I do a lot of other things. I just love playing music and stuff, but I'm in digital, in the world of digital and website design and marketing and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it keeps me super busy.
Yeah, hey, man, I'm J Bones, and yeah, was there from the beginning, maybe 97, maybe, just a little, and then bumped into Rockwell along the way and realized that that was the bass man to be with. And yeah, also got like multiple lives, that I try to run. So it keeps me sane, I think,
It's crazy that you guys like say, 97, 98. And like, gentlemen, I don't mean please don't take this the wrong way, that you guys have been doing Fuzigish that practically my entire lifespan. I was born in 94, and, and that is absolutely insane for me. That is so impressive. So
I often think of at shows, there's definitely people that are, like the band's older than a lot of people there. So
the first show that I ever watched of you guys, I was with some of my bandmates at the time, and they are younger than your band.
Well, I mean, you were born when I barely passed matric, and also Mandela was released in 94, wasn't he? I think.
Actually, 94, somewhere like yeah, that's it. So
yeah, good year, man.
Yeah, man.
Good year to be born.
I don't want to talk about when I got born there. That was a long time ago.
I'm Googling it, so I don't feel like.
Well, I always think of it as I used to say BC, which was before cell phone, and now I rate it, BC is also before COVID, but that's still, that's kind of recent. So yeah.
Well, no, I'm so wrong. Guys. It was 11th of February 1990. Just for everyone that's listening here.
Thank
my
you.
Sincerest apologies. Just shows what I know.
Is this Mandela's release date?
Yeah,
1990. So you were 4 years old. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I was also under the impression that it was 94. It goes to show what I know as well. Like,
so that was the main election. But I mean, so you weren't born yet. You weren't even thought about yet, to be honest, Marcel.
I don't think I've thought about much now, so that's okay. Not much has changed.
Oh, it's moving on.
Also at our age, like Alzheimer's kicking in, so I can be excused.
Yeah.
Very, very bad.
Really was sponsored by Zimmer. Cool.
Like, how do you guys like sort of process over 20 years worth of memories with a band? Like, it blows
crazy.
my mind. I'm sure there's things like over the years that have stuck out. Like I doing some research prior to this, like I see like things that you guys shared a stage with the Violent Femmes.
When you were saying things that stuck out, I was thinking of the time that I gave Rockwell a bear claw in Bloemfontein because I was sleeping in the van and he came along after the gig and was kind of drunk and stuff. And do you remember that, Rockwell? It was a good time. So.
Oh, I remember it very well, Jay. I think about it every day.
So it is amazing that we stuck around. We've been around for quite as long as we have, because I mean, I guess it's like there's so many things that come along but really proud. I mean, really proud that we've managed to do this, and it's amazing because I always used to tell my folks, I think they thought it was just a phase, they used it a phase, I mean, by the time I get to 30, I'll stop, maybe. Well.
That clearly didn't stop.
No, just got going.
No, we didn't stop. Man, we just love it too much, and I think that was at the Mystic Boer, by the way, where Jay punched me in the face. But it was like 3 a.m, and Jay wasn't known to carry his amps back then or now, really.
Amps?
But Yeah, and I was like, Jay, you got to pick up all your shit. I used to be really intense, not at all anymore. But yeah, and he just, I was kind of shouting him through the window. And he like
I mean,
flat-handed bear clawed me in the face.
and that's kind of life of a band, hey, because there's going to be those moments in any band's stuff where at that moment you probably thought, Rocco thought, do I want to stick around with this idiot? Like, am I really like, come on, this is, you know? So like, there's been times definitely like, there's been like some low times or some times when we've been like, oh, is it gonna? But then there's been so many good times, and whenever we get together, people come and watch us. So it's like, hey, what more do you want? You know, this is amazing. So it's like that's, I think that's the most, like, you know, what's really kept us together is that we enjoy the music and people come and watch us and they enjoy the music. It's like,
we enjoy it as much as they do, which is fucking cool. I mean, you said something about the Violent Femmes, like what's so crazy is, and we were talking about, you know, when you were born earlier, but like I matriculated in 94. There was a guy that I was actually in a band with before I joined Fuzzy, Gary Waters, a good mate of mine, and he bought like cassette tapes. I don't know if you kids know what that is, but he bought these cassette tapes to I was in boarding school, and on a Sunday night we'd do like prep and stuff, and he bought on the one side was Violent Femmes, on the other side was the Pixies. And I'd never, I think it was standard 6 or standard 7, so whatever, 89. I was just like, I'd never heard guitar like that. I'd never heard songs like that. It just kind of blew my mind. And then to be playing at the Dome to whatever, nearly like, I think it was 18,000 people or something. And I think Parlotones actually played before us. They were putting their makeup on before they went on stage. I'll never forget that. But really cool guys, man, really cool guys. But anyway, they were playing before us. It was before they got like really huge. And yeah, we played after them, and yeah, then like just playing with the Violent Femmes, and like you meet your idols, and sometimes not the best thing that you meet your idols, but they were just, yeah, really cool guys. To be able to share a stage like that in South Africa with a band that in your youth that shaped your musical kind of evolution and made you awoke in a way was just phenomenal. So those are for the bucket list. But I mean, I haven't thought about the Violent Femmes show for like, I don't know, 15 years. So so what happens is the people like yourself talk about these things, or you look through, I've got some old magazines and clippings and stuff, obviously collecting stuff from, you know, Fuzzy and stuff. And you're like, oh yeah, we did that. Because most of the time I was pretty drunk. So it's cool that it's written down somewhere. It's cool that someone else remembers, because I don't remember a lot of those times. But yeah, that was definitely like a pinnacle moment, like playing that kind of thing with that kind of band. But to Jay's point, it's like the little things, like it really, without sounding all esoteric or whatever, it's literally walking the streets in Germany or like hanging out in Australia and just being stupid, and you know, just recording demos in Australia with Jay from Frenzal Rom, and like screaming in his lounge with like his housemate just sitting there minding his own business, but you like literally scream your lungs out, like. And a lot of those songs were the demos for Exploded and Distorted. Anyway, I digress. It's really, there's so many stories and so many cool times and so many things that even if you get the bear claw, I fucking deserved it, man. I was an asshole.
I think like and it's what's great about, you know, being in a plane is like you know, the music, you get to go places that you wouldn't normally go and meet people and get into those situations that and you know, it's always surprising what's around and what's out there. It's amazing. I remember with that Violent Femme show that you're speaking about, the cable for my guitar, I never really been on such a big stage before, so that my cable was like taut. It was totally, if I moved 1 millimeter forward, it was going to come out the amp. I just like stood still the whole time. It was the hugest stage I'd ever been on, and it was like so it's like, so yeah, going to seeing old faces and then also meeting new people. So it's a combination, definitely.
Suddenly feeling leashed.
Everyone else had like wireless and stuff, but you know, like Mike Ness from Social Distortion, he won't use wireless, like the copper and stuff and the cables and that. It just like, he's like, it just messes with the signal. And every time that I've gone wireless or whatever, it's like, it just doesn't sound the same, man. So So, but you did need like a 40-foot cable for that show. That fucking stage was insane. But it was, so this weekend, I went to Rainbow Kid and Surprise, and look, they're not in the punk rock scene, but they're pretty fucking punk rock if you think about just what they're doing and who they are and how they've kind of changed. And when I was in the crowd, there were all these people around me, and I'm just a bassist. No one really knows me, to be honest. But this guy was next to me, and they were just like, "Oh yeah, you guy from Fuzigish." One of the people said, "You guy from Fuzigish," and this guy like nearly lost his mind, and he was like, you're shitting me, you're lying to me. And for like 10 minutes, then I showed him some videos and stuff, and he was like, "You really are." And he said, "I just want you to know that you shaped my youth. Like your like Skankers Union, Southern Star Stampino, it's just like the best albums, and I love you guys." And then like about 3 hours later or whatever, 2.5 hours later, this other kid came up and he's just like, you were my favorite band. And I was like, "Well, what happened now?" He goes, "No, you're still my favorite band." But like the guy's half my age or whatever. And you're just like, it's really crazy to think that the music has shaped people's lives. And I think that sometimes that's why we just keep playing. Like, yes, we love playing, and I love the songs that Jay writes. I think they've got an amazing sound, and we just love the shows. Everyone's so appreciative, and it just feels like such an amazing movement. But what maybe we don't actually take cognizance of sometimes is just how intense those songs were for kids or whoever, really, just like Violent Femmes or Pixies or whatever were for me. Like, I don't think that like bands that have millions of followers that we could be kind of in the same league. In a way, we kind of, and this is with no ego, I say these things, like in a way we are, because there's so many people that have just really been shaped by the music. And that's what just keeps us playing, you know, when stuff does get a little bit hard. This is when you're meant to laugh, Jay, and make it light.
No, I think it's really good. It's true. It's true. It's nothing nicer than like somebody say, "Hey man, like that was like," I always thought like, you think of in terms in the beginning, you just want to play this festival and play this stage and do an album and maybe, but then when somebody comes up to you and says, "Hey man, like you actually were influenced, or you helped me figure out something in my life, or I'm a golfer and I listen to you every time I'm going to go play golf," and you know, like I've had that before, and it's like, that's the coolest thing in the world.
That's at the risk of embarrassing myself here. When Naz told me that I was going to get the chance to have a chat with you, I kind of fangirled a bit. I'm going to be I was absolutely, I was over the moon, because I think the first time I watched you guys was somewhere in 2013. I got involved in the South African music scene quite late. I picked up a guitar in 2010, and from there I just kind of dove headfirst into it and started learning about the scene. And a couple of friends were like, "Have you heard of Fuzigish?" And I was like, "No." And they're like, "Cool, we're gonna go watch them this weekend." And from that point forward, I was like 19 at the time, and from that point forward, whenever I saw that you guys were playing, I was like, I have to be there. Like, you say that it's weird for you for people to come up and be like, "Wow, you know, you inspired me." As a young musician who had just started playing and had just started trying to like break out into the music scene and try and play shows and wanted to play guitar, like watching you guys on stage doing what you do was awe-inspiring for me. Like, I wanted to be as fluid. I was playing bass at the time, Malcolm, so I used to watch you with like the utmost envy of how the fuck do I look that cool on stage. It was just, yeah.
It's like you kind of like, I remember starting off and playing and like looking for like, where are we gonna, like, you know, what's the direction, like, well, I like playing this, I like playing everything, and like, and then you're jamming with different people and you're trying to figure out exactly what's going to work for you. And then I think what happened as with Malcolm, with me, like, you know, the Pixies came along and then punk rock came along, like kind of within very close to each other. And they're kind of really like those two kind of, those alternative and punk rock sounds and the ska and stuff that I suddenly saw this, like, oh, this is something that I can get into, because I like going to go watch bands and trying to figure out like, how's this going to work, you know?
Did Fuzigish start off as a punk rock band and then evolve into a ska band, or was it always a ska band from the beginning? Like, when you guys started, did you know this?
It wasn't even a punk rock band, I think. I don't know what it was. It was a collection of songs.
It's so interesting because when we released the new album now, I was like, Scott Hallquist from 10 Foot Pole, he mastered our album, and I was like, is it ska or is it punk? He said, you got fucking horns, so it's ska. And I'm like, okay, cool.
It's soul.
Okay.
It's soul, man.
It's soul. Like it's just, that's what it is. But I think that, and Jay said something. He's like, like when punk rock and whatever merged, obviously punk was around long before then, and I think we were all listening to it in some form, especially Jay and my age. But there was a weird thing that happened with with No Effects, Mighty Boss Tones, Millencolin, sorry, and this was before like Offspring and Green Day and stuff. There were like these just insane bands that were coming out with like really cool stuff, and we kind of took from all of that, plus the Pixies, plus Tom Waits, plus Violent Femmes, plus all these things, and that's why I think that we've stayed together, and I think that's why our sound is what it is, because yes, you need to put it into a genre to be able to put it into playlists in iTunes and Spotify. But at the end of the day, like for me, like it sounds like Fuzigish. And a lot of that is just Jay's voice and stuff. Like even on the new album, it's not a ska album. It's like an alternative album. I don't even know if it's a punk rock album. Like, but the vocals and the messages and all like that, like that's where the punk rockness came in. And obviously the insaneness of the shows and stuff.
I think it was more like the kind of DIY ethic of the punk thing that was really liberating and like showed us that, hey, like, you can do the stuff on your own, and then so I think that was a big driver. And then the sound of all that stuff is definitely, as Mel says, there's so much stuff that we've got a few guilty pleasures that we listen to, but we just keep that a secret. The rest of the stuff is
I fucking love Counting Crows,
No, but we Depeche Mode heads, and we always like have this Depeche Mode connection.
Depeche Mode's ridiculously good. The new album's okay, and the last 5 have been okay. But like in olden days, like Depeche Mode 101 and stuff like that, like there was no one releasing Blasphemous Rumors. There was no one doing stuff like Stripped.
It's a band divided, because half the band is like, what the hell are they on about?
Well, but and I think like Marcel, just what you were saying with you playing music and that, I think that Fuzzy kind of made it possible. Like I'm still learning to play, so I'm glad you say that you think I look cool or whatever. But like Jay showed me a lot of those bass lines and stuff, and like we weren't ever fantastic musicians, but it was more about like Jay hooking up with Andrew from Leak then, and creating shows which were like $5 or $20 to get into, and you got a free Sambuca was a big thing then. So you got not a Jaeger or whatever. You got a Sambuca,
but the scene, the scene, you have to create like find those bands that are in the same kind of place as you, and want those. And I thought actually, to be honest with you, if the bass player did a lot of runs and moved a lot around, then the guitar could just stay on one chord, and then I wouldn't have to work as much. So it worked out like that.
And you're right. I mean, like obviously, like big influences, Rancid and stuff, like just Out Come the Wolves and all that. That was all around the same kind of time. Still one of the best albums like ever. And even they evolved into Life Won't Wait. Like Jay and I were chatting about it the other day. Like people didn't really dig that album, but it's one of their best albums. But with Out Come the Wolves and stuff, and like watching Rancid, fortunate to watch Rancid a couple of nights in a row in the UK at Astoria, like Freeman's just a god on the bass. There's always someone better than you. There's always someone better than you. There's always someone doing some cool shit. And there's been nothing for the last couple of years that I've been like really into. Like a lot of the bands are sounding the same. And that's why we also wanted to make this new album. Like it's always going to be fuzzy because of Jay's voice and the way that he writes, but not to like, it's the closest thing to Skankers I think we've done. But the first band, it's actually been like this week, that I've got into was the Co-Defendants. It's the first band, like other than possibly like the Laura Jane Grey stuff with Devouring Mothers and stuff, and like what Against Me was doing, where you just go like, wow, man, that's new and fresh. So I hope we're keeping it fresh. I hope we're keeping it rad. But yeah, there hasn't been a lot that's kind of come out. Like I always feel like stuff's a bit of a copy of a copy. But there's an interesting thing.
That's just age, That's just age, like you can, hey, this sounds like the band that I was used to.
Yeah, they used to be cool. They used to be cool when they released another 10 albums. But like, yeah, Co-Defendants, pretty cool stuff.
Are you still playing the bass guitar, Marcel?
Yeah, I play guitar in a band now. I
You're
moved
playing
to
bass or
Durban.
you're playing guitar?
I'm playing
Yeah.
guitar. I'm playing guitar.
Okay,
I moved to Durban and I came down as a bassist because everyone needs a bassist because not enough kids really want to
yeah.
play bass. Like, it's that, the age-old problem where everyone wants to play guitar because it's flashier and it
But it
seems
is
more.
cool though. It is cool. The bass, you just can just hang out there, just rock those. But yeah, it's true. Everybody starts as a guitarist, and then it's like ching chong. Who's going to be like
Yeah, so
the bass player? Yeah,
I
yeah.
came down to Durban intending, cool, I'm gonna find a band quickly because I'm gonna just put myself out there as a bassist and see who will take me. And the very first band that approached me was like, "Can you act? Can you play guitar?"
What's happening in Durban these days? Like, what's the?
COVID flattened an already struggling scene. Like, I'm gonna be brutally honest with you,
Yeah,
COVID
yeah.
absolutely decimated what was
Hey, man.
left of Durban scene. So the Winston's gone now. That's closed like about 2 years ago already, actually.
Yeah.
Which was one of like the last bastions of like alternative music. There are a couple of places now that are trying their best that have opened up. They're not designed for music, but you know what? There's a lot
Yeah,
of the artists are trying to make something happen.
because we always had a great time in Durban. We had like some amazing times in Durban. We just haven't been there for ages, and it's kind of feels like it's I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, and if there's something's happening down, like yeah, so it's interesting to hear what's going on.
I don't even know if there's anything that could like accommodate you guys down here at the moment in terms of venues. Like basically
Well,
it's kind of just everyone making do with whatever they've got.
hey, that's punk rock. Eh?
And then you were saying about like the DIY thing, you guys, and from what I gather, you guys have always been doing the DIY thing. I think it was what Red Ambulance. Um,
Yeah,
and that fascinates me because like, today, the DIY thing is very popular. Like, a lot of bands, it's just gotten too expensive to, record and go to studio and stuff like that. I mean, it always was expensive, but you guys have been doing the DIY thing from a point where it wasn't really easy to do it at home. It wasn't just as simple as I'm going to download a DAW and I'm just going to, download a whole bunch of plugins, just get a
yeah.
little interface, plug my guitar into that, and I can just program drums and produce a full album from my bedroom with a couple of YouTube tutorials.
Yeah, we've seen that whole change. We've seen that whole change. It's like so strange to see it, and like from a being like that. I think of us as like a kind of vintage or traditional kind of craft. Like this is a band with like it's got four dudes and they got cables and this because it's like it's in a very different space now. It's like a like it's just different. And as you say, like recording. So recording is easier, but getting around is more expensive. And so like all the different variables, all the different things that can like influence what's happening and what's being made. Those all things have changed a lot. So that's been interesting to watch. I mean, and the fact that we've managed to, I mean, like, yeah, now it's, social media is such a big player and all these things, you can be very creative. You don't have to ever leave your room. You can be super imaginative and creative and get out, but you're not going to, it's just different world, different skills. Like if that was the way to make with Fuzzy, I would have like struggled, but luckily, we had the band thing. So it was a bit of a gang going around doing our thing,
I think like Jay had this console thing that he used to record all the shit onto tape, and whether it's a Apple Mac now or it's whatever. I think that there's a lot more stuff that's accessible. Maybe that's why stuff's sounding a lot the same, to be honest. But at the same time, there's this amazing breadth to everything that you're hearing. There's so much music coming out. It's almost hard to keep on top of it.
It's overwhelming. Yeah.
But like I've said to the guy, like we played at the Striped Horse here like 3 weeks ago, no monitors, no whatever. We can make shitty little amps and a shitty PA sound rad, or we can play a huge festival, on amazing sound systems or whatever, make that sound rad. I think that that's maybe like a bit of a disconnect where unless you're playing with backing tracks and stuff, like you've actually got to go through the stuff where you've got shitty sound and you've had to work really hard in studio with live takes and things and stuff, like just to really feel the music. I think you've almost got to struggle through it. It's meant to be fun, but it's not actually that easy, to be honest.
Kind kind of like a rite of passage.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's just a
I mean,
point on my side. I don't know.
it's so cool that you are able to like have all this stuff at your fingertips and do it from your, like a bedroom producer kind of thing. But at the same time, I think there's definitely something that's really cool about that old school thing of going on the mission together in a real sense of like out there in the world, and having to deal with these things and learning about each other, learning about yourself, along the way, like, because we can deal with stuff now, it's helped us a lot. So it's just been interesting to see how this so changed and like what's possible.
Yeah, and Jay's still like with the demos and stuff he's doing now. Yeah, he's doing drum loops and stuff out of Apple or whatever he's using, and it's easier to record ideas and get ideas down where a lot of ideas are lost, in drunken Sunday afternoons practicing and stuff. And, you weren't tracking those things. But so use the tools like to benefit what you want to benefit, but just don't use it as a synthetic output. That for me is where things just get a bit lame.
No, that does make a lot of sense to me. It's like you said, it's a copy paste thing. I think earlier you said like a copy of a copy, which that is an unfortunate reality that is going to happen when suddenly a significantly like larger amount of people have access to the tools to do so.
What's interesting now is this kind of like, because you can make things so perfect and sound so amazing and layer everything and have it all quantized. Now there's this move, obviously, over the last while, like to have things real, to be able to hear the cricket in the background, to see that the guitar is going out of time or whatever, because that makes people want to connect with that thing, and I think that's like what's important. Even when we were recording the new album, like we'd never. It's easy to take a copy and paste, say like your verse, like a chorus or something, or a guitar riff. We never did that. It's tempting, but we were like, no, it's cool. Like because you kind of get it, but you need that organic. You need that still in it. That humanness.
We on the new album, like everything was analog. Like I played the bass from the beginning to the end of the song. Jay sang all the choruses, all the guitar bits, like all the stuff. Whereas on other albums, we had some computers and we cut and pasted some backing vocals, and it kind of like, that's why I love the album. Like there's a hiss, like a hiss to some of the instruments and stuff. You're plugging stuff like the stuff's not as like on the bass. We didn't quantize the bass or whatever. It kind of flows before the drums and after drums. Like I'm really happy with the result. Like it's the most real recording next to Skankers that I think that we've done, and we're going to be I'm releasing our Sonage launch where we launched the album, and we've done no edits to the stuff. There's mistakes in it, and if you listen to the Violent Femmes, you listen to Pixies, you listen to like any of those live recordings, even now the stuff they're releasing straight after shows like the Pixies does, they don't master it, they don't do whatever, they just put it out there. The mistakes are there. And that's just real,
tangible almost. Otherwise,
it humanizes it. Like you're saying, you connect.
Yeah.
Because you know what, like it gives you the sense of that your idols aren't these perfect beings, like that they never make mistakes, or it's something that's easy to relate to.
Those moments you were talking about, like where you just remember stuff, and like you need to hear that to actually. That's the thing that like the music does. Like you can listen to a song now, like a Secret Police or whatever, or Little Bird or whatever, and you'll remember a girl that you're with, or you can almost like smell the space you were in. You can like, feel the house moving, whatever. It's quite crazy what music does. And I think that's what kind of keeps us alive in a way, without sounding too deep. But
a lot of people that come to shows that are like, they're back 10 years ago or something. They're just like, it's cool. It's a connection with those times. And I think we're lucky like that. We have a really cool like core following of dudes that are like have been followed with us for ages, and they still come to the shows, which is amazing. And we all have a good time together. And I think then when younger guys come through, they come to the show, and then they see this, they're like, it's like the energy, and it's positive, man. It's like, wow, that's you want to be part of something like that.
It's always interesting, the assortment of people and age groups at your
Yeah,
shows.
totally.
Like it's from like a whole bunch of different generations and people, like different people coming together. Like,
Yeah, it's like
Well, I mean, we obviously give pensioner discounts now, which is also like why the shows are fuller, which is cool.
the shows again earlier. We don't do afternoon shows now. Afternoon, like kind of sit down events.
I remember going to watch you guys, and I think you started it playing at 11 o'clock and you played a 2 hour show.
Gone are those days. Gone are those days.
I remember being absolutely finished after that, sitting
Yeah.
outside Rumors Lounge when it was still in Velterfred.
Yeah, when you're in it, it's great because like you playing it and it's like the energy's there and you're putting out energy and energy's coming back and it's cool. Then as soon as the show's over, about like 10, 15 minutes later, you're just like, whoa. Okay, this is like the afterglow. This is just enjoy it, just chill out.
The worst thing is then flying like red eye. I live in Cape Town now, but like flying red eye out. And like you always think it's a great idea to get back, and then you're just like, this was the stupidest idea I ever had. But what's strange, you know, we've got 9 to 5s or 9 to 8s or 3 in the mornings till 12 at night, whatever it is now. And, you know, I love my job. I love what I do. I love my team. It's like super rad. But it's so crazy. Like on Tuesday, you actually like come down. Like if you've been playing a Saturday night show, you actually feel depressed because the high of the shows, you know, and just playing for people, singing all the words back and that, like I said earlier, it's not an ego thing. It's just such an amazing experience and energy. You know, I keep talking about the new album, you know, like, but National Slam Disaster Plan, you know, is all about that and sweating in the pits and like just, you know, Mad Circle was about that, you know, on the last album as well. But like, you just kind of like, you can't explain it to anyone. It's very surreal. And I think that for us as a band, it's surreal. And then like Tuesday, you're kind of coming down. And I think that for the people that are at the shows, they're coming down for whatever reasons they're coming down. But it's just like, well, I'm back in the 9 to 5 and I'm back doing this stuff, but like, it's worth it, you know, like it's so important to have that balance of absolute chaos and mayhem in like a happy place to almost just understand possibly what you're missing and other things, or also just go, well, this is cool. Like I can also just do this, but on the weekends, this is the other thing that I want to do. And I want to enjoy the music that I love. So yeah, it's quite hectic. Like whenever I play tours or, you know, shows or whatever and come back, I'll say to my wife or whatever, it's like Tuesday, she's like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm just a bit down. Like it's cool, you know, like just give me a break. You almost come down from it because it's such an amazing high.
I do feel like I've experienced this as an artist.
Yeah.
I'm not sure to the extent that you have. It's such a relatable feeling because that those post gig blues or those post show blues, is
Yeah.
I heard someone refer to it as that, and that kind of stuck with me. Yeah, it's just an out of body experience almost.
Yeah, no, that's the thing about it, which is great, and I think is because when you're in it and you like having a good gig or you're jamming, you have to fully be in the moment. You know, you can't be thinking about this stuff, otherwise it's just not there. So it really like it pulls you in. It like you have to, you know, you have to be right there with it, and that's what's so cool about it. And then with playing like really fast or with like intense energy as well, you get that whole kind of, it's like some kind of mad extreme sport.
And you guys have obviously played your fair share of shows. Like, I'm sure that you've lost count of how many places you played, how many shows you've played. You know, like for a lot of artists, that would be a dream. You know, like I know it's something that I would love to achieve at some point in time. With guys who have so much experience, just like such a wealth of sort of, like Malcolm, I know you were saying that you couldn't remember half of them, but like
they're there.
To like new artists who are stepping out, because of what I've noticed is lately as well, there's a lot of new blood in the scene in these last few months, in these last 2 years since the end of COVID. Like since the scene has sort of reopened up, since the lockdown ended, I'm seeing a lot of new faces. I'm seeing a lot of new bands coming out of the woodwork. And what kind of advice would you guys give to guys who are just starting out?
Jay said to me, like, and that's the thing you were talking about earlier, Marcel, about like recording and stuff at home is so easy. And that, like Jay said it, if you can't play it on an acoustic guitar around the fireplace, it's not a good song. If it's not a good song around the fireplace, like it's not a good song. So it doesn't matter what production you put on it. So the Beatles, whatever, like just those songs you can just play, excuse me, is like, it's got to be a good song, right? So the one side is the songwriting, and that's so important. The second side is I still work this every single day. It's not easy. When we first started, we were like, oh, we'll get massive. In like 2002, we were like touring Europe, and our manager at the time was like, he said to my dad, these guys are going to make it so huge. Like we didn't. It was really hard. And every single day, I'm still on social, still phoning all the venues, still trying to book all the stuff, still trying to plan all the bands, still trying to, like, it's a job in itself. And you just got to keep working at it. That's all that it is. It doesn't come easy for anyone. I don't care. You're Miley Cyrus, they had to work really hard to get to where they're at. And it's about connecting with people. You're not better than anyone. It's really about just finding those connections, putting on the shows. Like, I didn't know about doing all this stuff. Like Jay did it. He organized these shows with Andrew. And then the next thing we were doing Mad Circles. The next thing we were playing Woodstock. We were playing Oppie Copy, and we were playing, Splashy Fen. And it's really about
just keep on going, and don't be afraid to record, like record stuff as you go. Like don't wait for the like perfect take and the perfect this and the perfect sound. Like just when you think you got some stuff together, do it, because whether the band sticks together or lasts for 25 years, at least you'll have something from that moment. And that's what people like hold on to, like that's the thing, like, oh, that's what gets around. So it was like, just do it. Yeah,
like so interesting. Like Jay really, I think we're all our own driving force. I'm not trying to take anything away from any of us, but like Jay's an amazing songwriter, but he also was this like visionary where like I didn't know how to book shows. So you phoned Hunter's Pub and he phoned these. I mean, before I joined Fuzzy and it was in their infancy, before we kind of changed the sound a bit, but they were playing at a pizza restaurant, and doing Pixies covers and stuff.
We had to convince
tables.
somebody, looking for a venue. Hey, you have to convince somebody, and it was like, if you think about it, you just play into some, most of the time random people and stuff and putting out stuff. But
you learn
someone has to give you a shot eventually.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, yeah. Like just like, you're passionate about it and you just do it, and it's like, that's what you do.
You'll
like,
learn
purpose.
You'll learn what venues not to play. You'll learn what venues to play. You learn what sounds shit, what really is cool, whatever. But like another thing that Jay did, we recorded in B Sharp in Benoni in a garage, and now the studio is amazing, and John Paul DeStefani is amazing, and all those things. But Jay was the one that said, like, record your stuff, get your stuff out. And I suppose, Marcel, to your point, like, you've got all these tools, write the songs, but it's still got to be a fucking good song. Like it's got to be a rad song. Like it has to do something that moves people or whatever, or it's just your vibe. Who really gives a shit, actually? Like, just get it out there.
The song is your ticket, eh? It's the song is your ticket. It's a thing that you go out there and you say, because if anybody, you mean like, hey, what you got? This is the song. Here's a song. Here it is.
Yeah, here's something tangible that people can listen to and take away, and people would dig it or whatever, So Jay had this idea to like record, and we are just like, oh my God, we spent so much time on the CD cover design and all the stuff, like CDs and stuff, but it was just,
we recorded to tape. That's how long ago it was. Tape. It was the tape.
Yeah, and yeah, we were recording to tape, and then when we toured Durban, we played the Back Cafe, in Durban and stuff, and like we sold 25 discs that day, of which they were probably pirated 100 times or whatever, and every surfer had it, and like the whole thing, like it just, that whole scene starts. So just like, get your shit out there, but like, just be passionate about it. But at the same time, my main point was, it never stops. It's not just easy. You're still dealing with all the shows, the promoters, the venues, the sound, the money, the flights, the what, like it's never ending, but it's the passion, like it's worth it. I don't mind spending till 3 a.m. after work working on this stuff because it's mine, you know, and if people dig it, cool. And I've always said, like, if one person likes our song, cool. If 1 million people like our song, cool. Same cool. But you got to just like, you just got to get it out there. And Jay had that vision to get the shit out there. So that would be my advice anyway, for anyone. Just record your stuff, get it out, phone lots of people, and just play shows, man. Just build a scene. That's what we did.
That's some solid stuff, man. That's
Solid, Jay.
Solid.
Jay's got bounce.
Like it.
Yeah, see that. That's no stress at all. We can
got
actually
bounce.
call it. We can actually call it an evening, lads. Thank you so much for having a chat with me and taking the time at 8 o'clock on this evening, this Wednesday evening, to have a chat with me. I can't express how much I appreciate you guys taking the time to have a chat with me. And yeah, I had a lot of fun.
No,
Thank you,
and
Mr.
I mean, I just spoke to my friend here really the whole time. So thanks for not asking any questions, Marcel. Jay, have you got a Jay's been working on a new track that like we're going to be doing. Jay, you're going to play us something?
Marcel, thank you. So long. Thank you. Cheers, dude.
That was brilliant. Thank you so much, guys.
All right, man. Take it easy. Love and light. I'm out.
Cheers, lads.
You're gonna start bleeding. Fuzzy coming at you with a fat scar beating. Let's go!